Starting.
All righty. I got to get my notes here because Renee's so important that there's so much stuff to talk about. So I'm going to talk for about 15 minutes about Renee, and then she'll talk for 6 minutes. Okay. All right, so Renee is a national speaker known for helping entrepreneurs and sales pros break through the sea of sameness, I love that, through curiosity-driven conversations. She's an Exactly What to Say guide co-founder, and I saw what's Phil's last name?
Phil Jones.
Phil Jones speak last week in New Orleans, and what Renee teaches is ridiculously good. Blown away. She's also co-founder of the Funk Collection real estate team brokered by eXp Realty. She's been an icon agent 8 times with eXp, recognized as one of the top 125 leaders in Success Magazine. She's known for challenging conventional thinking around leadership, sales, communication, and human connection in a world increasingly filled with automation and noise. I'm a lot of noise. Renee comes to us from Windermere today, and let's welcome Renee Funk.
We need to hug.
I know.
We need to hug. And we're going to make some kind of crazy feedback. And I won't do that again, I promise. Hello there. You're bringing energy, right? I love it. I love it. And in that energy, did you know that 64% feel overwhelmed by how quickly the world and work is changing? Does this resonate with anyone? 49% are worried about being left behind. This is a LinkedIn study that was done in 2025. We're already halfway through 2026, and the pressures of AI and the pressures of the way work is changing, everyone is feeling it. A couple additional stats for you is 71% of working Americans can think of a time if they had better communication skills, if they would have been a stronger communicator, their life might have been different for the better. One more for you, 85% of working Americans think leaders should be held to a higher standard for communication, and perhaps one of my favorite things, preparation, the work before the work. What's really cool is that each of you are here today because you're passionate about doing the work before the work. Professionals do not practice on customers and clients. In this room today, it might feel messy. That's normal. This is where we practice. I'm super excited because I know a lot of faces in here. Maria is one of them. Maria's had the opportunity to train in a few of the Exactly What to Say certifications that I host. And so Maria, some of this will be reinforcement because you'll say, hey, wait, I've heard Renee talk about that before. Most often I get to work with leadership teams, brokerages, real estate teams who hire me to coach and train them to think differently about the way they're showing up in communications. And the good news is today you're going to go home with tactical examples, action items, as well as some of the things you can say that will help you break that sea of sameness. And yet first, let's talk about, and I don't want to get stuck right here with this speaker. So what you're going to see me do is I like being nearby y'all. So I'm going to be kind of walking around a little bit. First, let's talk about something very important. Who feels like there's 27,000 things pulling you in 37,000 different directions? Your phone is beeping right now. You have text messages. You have thousands of emails. Mitch Rebeck, how many emails are in your inbox? Probably less than mine. I heard you delete them, so I don't know. You are getting pulled in a lot of different directions. It's frustrating. And yet we make a choice, all of us, to get in our cars, to drive to a training, and then we feel the pressures of not being able to be fully present. We feel like we need to be somewhere else. Give yourself the permission to be fully present. If you need a reminder, look where your feet are. You're right here. You chose to be here. We have about an hour-ish, if I'm not mistaken. Mitch and Pat are gonna hold me to time that we're going to be together. My commitment is to be fully present for each and every one of you, to send you home with as much value as possible in our time together. And the ask is that you realize that presence is a gift that you give to yourself as well as others. And the very act of this intentionality is one of the ways that I open every single training and every single meeting that I host. Because being fully present without intentionality is nearly impossible. If we're all getting pulled in a lot of different directions, that is creating the chaos. That is creating the, where am I supposed to be? Supposed to be here, and when you're with a client, be with a client. When you're with your family, be with family. When you're with everyone at dinner, be present at dinner. If there's just one takeaway that would make me super heart and like my heart happy, this would be one of them, that you go home and say, you know what, I'm gonna put just a little more intentionality around being fully present and realizing the gift that that delivers. All right, let's go. If I say the word stereotypical salesperson, what words come to mind? Shout it out. Don't be shy.
Gator shoes.
What's that?
Gator shoes.
Gator shoes?
Alligator shoes.
Alligator shoes.
Car salesman.
Congratulations. I've never heard that before. I have taught this hundreds of times, and that is the first time someone's ever yelled out alligator shoes. I love it. You are debunking sea of sameness. All right, so when we think of stereotypical salespeople, yell out your words. Pushy. Annoying. Used car salesman. What else? Cold callers. We know Mitch Rebeck doesn't do cold calling. What else? Doesn't listen. Not a great listener. What else? Manipulative. One more. Pushy. Annoying. Answers to all your questions. So like the know-it-all, right? I know everything. You don't need me because I'm going to advice monster you. Yep, you're all right. What happens when we change the word to professional salespeople? What comes to mind?
Knowledgeable.
Knowledgeable.
Problem solving.
Problem solving. I love that.
Successful.
Successful. Did I hear patient?
Patient.
Yes. What else? What's that?
Respect.
Respect.
Listening.
Listening.
Family member, friend.
Family member, friend. So welcoming. You want to be around them, right?
Educated.
Educated. Yeah.
Curious.
Curious. Yes, Jessica. Yes. Isn't that interesting? When we change one word, it changed all your words. One word changed all your words. Maybe we just have to turn down a little bit. And also it's the size of room that I could actually just probably make sure everyone hears me, but definitely turn it down. Isn't that an interesting thing? How powerful are our words? Well, Mitch is turning that down. It gave me a little bit of a respite so I could take a little drink. Has anyone ever heard the advice passed around the sales industry, certainly in the real estate industry, and it starts with an acronym. It's called R&D. Has anyone ever heard R&D? You know what that stands for? What's that? Say it again. Rip off and duplicate. Worst advice ever given. Worst advice ever given. Let's think about it for a second. As the real estate industry or any sales professional is told, go ahead and look at how others are doing it. I'm going to check out what Jessica's doing. I'm going to rip off what Jessica's doing, and I'm going to duplicate it in my own town, in my own market. What is that creating? Sea of sameness. And Jessica has her unique, authentic position that people love Jessica for Jessica. And when you look at what's happening with AI and all of the tech tools and everything we have, our fingers have access to every single bit of information on our cell phones without even barely pressing a button. Anybody know what AI slop is?
Predictable.
AI slop is everywhere, all over every piece of social media. It feels like everybody's become like a Nobel Prize winning writer all of a sudden. AI slop, sea of sameness. Today, this is your nudge to think differently. I don't want to go too close. About how you are showing up, including the words you use, the messaging you use, the text messages you send, the emails, and also how you're showing up on social media. These details matters. And the good news is when there's all the noise out there, it is really easy to say, look at all that noise, look at everybody, they all look and sound the same over here. Never ever has there been a time more important for you to say, who am I? What's my authentic self? My voice is needed. The people who I'm seeking to earn business with want to hear exactly from me in my own authentic voice. No rip off and duplicate. How do pros break through the sea of sameness? Let's see what happens when I venture out. Ooh. Could it be possible that there are specific ways you can show up differently with a few simple swaps in the words we use? I already showed one example is we turned stereotypical into professional, and look what happened. All of your words changed. So let's take a look. Don't worry if you can't see this, because I think Mitch and Pat said that we'd be able to send out slides and everything after, right? You have all their email addresses? Awesome. Also, you can DM me on Instagram. Anything that I share is fully available to you. I want to send you home with exact things you can say, okay? Think about some of these changes. How often do you have a conversation with someone and they say, hey, Ann, how are you? That's what everyone says, right? Sea of sameness. Encouraging you to say instead, hey, Ann, great to hear from you today. Hey, Ann, thanks for sending me an email. Hey, Ann, great to hear your voice. Start saying great to hear from you. Great to speak with you. Great to hear your voice. Great to see you. When you see somebody that you're normally on Zoom calls with, and all of a sudden you're in person, like I mentioned Ann, I usually see her on Zooms or on phone calls. I don't get to see Ann in person as much as we would like. It's like, hey, Ann, good to see you. It's good to see you in person. Don't say, hey, Ann, how are you? And you're probably wondering to yourself, why? It's a polite thing to say. Good question. How often do you actually receive an authentic answer in return? It's lazy language that means nothing. And as a sales professional, when you're making calls and doing that outreach to call somebody, or even send them a text, if you start with, hi, how are you? Congratulations, you sound like everyone else. And nobody even cares about their answer. Lazy language. Next up. Would you be happy if I shared with you that you never have to follow up again? Oh wait, hold on a second. This is a room full of real estate professionals. Do you like following up? What if you never had to follow up again? Yes? Okay. Well, a simple swap for I'm just following up is calling as promised. Emailing you the updated communities today as promised. What is the action item that you previously discussed that you were going to follow through about? Follow through with that item and then say, as promised, I'm delivering what I said I would deliver. See how that's different? You never, ever, ever follow up, circle back, touch base. Does anybody want your base touched? I mean, also, some of you have been in trainings with me before, so you've heard me say this. Like whenever I want to say I'm pointing this way, because most of these things I've done it too. Just because we've always done it a certain way doesn't make it right. It also means we can be open-minded to think differently and make changes with agility. Every single one of these, stop saying I've done. Somewhere along the lines, I was trained to think R&D was okay. Somewhere along the lines, I did exactly what most salespeople are doing right now, which is, hey, I'm following up, just circling back. I've done it too. So don't worry if you've done it and you're like, hey, wait, this is messy. Instead of circling back, what can we say? Resurfacing where we left off on. You really want to make sure that they feel heard and understood. If you spoke to them 3 weeks ago and your commitment was to come back to them in 3 weeks for another connection, then you say, as promised, calling, resurfacing the topic that we discussed 3 weeks ago. They feel seen, heard, and valued. But stop saying circling back. Circling back, some of these language items, these are just things that people say because, let's face it, they may not know what else to say in lieu of this lazy language. Okay, My listing, the listing. Has anyone ever heard or seen on social media listing agents who will launch a listing, they activate the listing to the marketplace, and then they put it on social media and they say, my newest listing? Seen that? Whose listing is it?
The sellers.
Just imagine what that feels like for the seller. Is it your listing or the seller's listing? And I know I have some managing brokers in the room, so they might be thinking, it's actually the brokerage's listing. However, I know y'all, I know. However, it's actually the listing of the seller. The seller makes the decision if it's going to go to market and whom they're hiring. So just imagine when you start referring to it as the listing. The newest listing in Windermere launched with the Funk Collection. That's the team I get to be a co-owner of. I'm super proud of that team. And we are based in Windermere, Florida. Here's another example of my and the. Ever had, on the buyer side, you're the buyer's agent, and you show up with your buyers to show a property, and the listing agent is required to be present. You've probably seen that happen. So you're the buyer's agent, and you walk up, and you have buyer Bob here. Listing agent is inside the property. You and buyer Bob walk in. Listing agent says, hi, great to meet you. Buyer's agent says, hi, this is Bob, my buyer. Is Bob your buyer, or is he the buyer? The buyer. One more on my and the. Are there any team leaders in the room? It's okay if not. Once I share this one, okay, yep, Jessica is. Okay, so I know you and I have worked together before, so I know you already know this. Though the rest of us, once you see this, you can't unsee it. If there's someone in a place of leadership, especially in the real estate industry, like team leaders, watch team leaders say, hey, my team's doing so well. Does anyone want to join my team? Or could it be possible that they say, the team? Once you see it, you can't unsee it. As team leaders, refer to even your office. When you're talking, if you're an agent in an office, and don't say my office, say the office in Windermere. There is no other office in Windermere. The office is the best. Subtle, but oh so powerful examples of simple swaps that each and every one of us can utilize in our business. What's going to happen? Dun, dun, dun. I'll go this way. What's your budget? You're talking to a buyer. Today we're going to talk about 6 questions that you can ask buyers to break the sea of sameness on your first call. Though first, let's start about right here. What's your budget? No buyer wants to feel like you ask, hey, buyer, what's your budget? Lazy language. Instead, you can simply ask, what is your preferred price range? What price range are you aiming to stay within? It lowers their tension because they don't want to tell you. They're hesitant to tell you, especially in the beginning. They're afraid if they tell you that you're going to stick to that, right? Just simply ask, what's your preferred rate price range? What's your bottom line is really, really powerful, both with sellers and buyers. Okay, we should have taught the class in reverse. I could come back here. You guys could turn your seats around, right? This one's a good one. What's your bottom line? That's a terrible thing to say. At what price are you no longer a buyer? At what price are you no longer a seller? Yes, we're here to talk a lot about buyers today, though I will tell you, this one simple swap with sellers is so impactful because you're on a first call with the seller. What does that seller not want to tell you on the first call? The seller wants the pro to push their cards across the table first, right? Because they're afraid to say too much. Switch it out. Just at the end of your call, after you do your first call, just simply say, hey, I know this isn't a formal meeting. We're going to talk about this when we're in person. So just off the cuff, because I'm not in front of my computer right now, just out of curiosity, at what price are you no longer a seller? It's just simple, and slip it in. Change your tone of voice. They answer it. The other question, if you say, hey, what do you need to sell the property for? 0% of the time will they answer you. And if they do, it's not factual, because they're trying to hedge against truth. This question, they start to open up. Got it? All right, home versus property. This is really fun. When you're talking to buyers, you refer to it as a home. When you're talking to sellers, you refer to it as a property. you start the disassociation. Buyers are starting to dream forward. They're thinking, they're envisioning, what are they aiming to achieve, and what will they achieve in the lifestyle? It's much more than just 4 walls and a roof and some bedrooms. Think about it and start to get them to attach themselves to that next step. And then the alternative is when you're talking to sellers, is you want to start the disassociation process, because sellers are doing what? They're emotional, it's not a fun thing, nobody likes to move. They're probably packing up some mementos and memories that they've had for a lot of years into boxes. When's the last time you moved? It is an emotional roller coaster. In the real estate industry, the industry should have a requirement that every agent should have to transact in real estate every 2 to 3 years. I know it's lofty, it's impossible probably, but as someone who I remodeled my house in 2023. It was a remodel. Mitch, you get this. You've been out of your house for how long? Have you been out of the house for like a year?
15 months.
Okay, so you feel this. 2023, Jeff and I, my husband, we remodeled our house. We had to move out for about 11 to 12 months. Did a full gut job. Best gift ever, love it, so happy. Though, I learned a really valuable lesson because it had been a long time. We've lived in that property since 2007. That was the last time that I had actually picked up personal items to move for a primary residence, and I wasn't a mom yet. Holy hell. When we had to pack up and literally pack everything in the entire house as if it would, because it was stripped down to the walls, and my kiddo's in the back, actually. Hi, buddy. I'm like, yeah, you remember this. We moved out of the house for a whole year. I sat there and put all the childhood things in the kindergarten drawings in a box. The strong professional won't forget that empathy. They're doing that too, but yet most agents will get mad when their seller or buyer calls. I'm like, oh my gosh, how could they? They're so mean. May I ask that we please extend a little grace, because they're actually going through something that is incredibly stressful, right? So think about that a little bit when we approach the home versus property. And then lastly, for your simple swaps today, and there's hundreds of simple swaps that I teach, though I focused on giving you some of the most tactical as it relates to our topic today. What's your timeline? Terrible question. A great simple swap for what's your timeline is, how important is it to be in the home before the holidays, before August 10th when school starts, before the end of the year. Put an intentional time frame. So on your piece of paper, because I see some of you are writing notes, I want you to write down what's your timeline, and then I want you to put a big, huge X on it and say, I will never ask this question again. It's a terrible question, and it's one of the reasons why buyers are liars started. Buyers are not liars. Agents aren't asking strong enough questions to understand what their actual timeline is, and they're expecting buyers to know what it takes as far as a timeline. We are the pros. We need to ask stronger questions. If we ask what's your timeline, they have no idea what their timeline is. They probably haven't transacted in a long time. Before I move on, shout it out. Which one was your favorite shared so far?
Buyers are not liars.
Thank you. Amen. Again for the people in the back.
What's your bottom line? That's a good one.
What's that?
What's your bottom line?
What's your bottom line? At what price are you no longer a buyer? Yeah? Did I hear a budget? What's your budget? Home versus property. Whoops.
My versus the.
Ooh, you can't unsee that, right? My versus the really applies to a lot of things, even in your personal life, is where are the moments that we're saying that my versus the, so important.
When you're doing a video online, don't say it's my listing, say it's the customer's listing, or just say,
The listing.
hey, I'm here at this address, come check it out.
Where's the listing located? Again, I'll refer to Windermere because that's where I call home. I get to hear Walt Disney's Train from my front yard when I walk my dog every single day. I love living in Windermere. And a really great way when we launch a Windermere listing is to say, the newest Windermere listing offered by the Funk Collection has arrived. It's that simple. And guess what that does? That is not the sea of sameness. That is not just listed, that is not just sold, all this nonsense. If you're doing just listed and just sold, homework assignment, go home today and stop it. Stop it. There's 10,000 other things we can be saying. Nobody gives a you-know-what about just listed and just sold. It is long gone. All right. Little bit of a call to action for you all here. I just shared with you quite a bit of strategy with Exactly What to Say. As an Exactly What to Say certified guide, I'm hired to work in Exactly What to Say methodologies. Though today I have a field guide. If you go to my Instagram page right now, if you go to Instagram, you're gonna get an instant download, and we're not done. I just like to put this like earlier on where you say, hey, well, what are you gonna give me? I have things, I have gifts, Maria. Go to Instagram, Renee_Funk. You can comment on any post I have on Instagram. Just click on one of my posts, anyone, doesn't matter. Pull up a post and comment the word exactly. And what will happen is you're gonna get a little prompt, and in your DMs from me will be the Exactly What to Say field guide for real estate professionals. Many more simple swaps and strategies on how you can communicate as an agent. Go to Renee_Funk on Instagram, comment on any post exactly. All you gotta say is the word exactly, and it will DM you. Hey, Mitch Ruick. That's probably because they're on my post and I'm sharing your content. See, I share. I share the love, I appreciate. And while we're doing that, like, thank you to Mitch and Pat for this amazing opportunity for us all to come together today. So shout out to Mitch and Pat, like woohoo, give them like a, yeah. We're gonna pull Mitch out of retirement to do more of these. No pressure. That's called voluntold. You were voluntold. I know it is. All right, we're not done yet. How are we doing on time? Make sure I'm like, okay, good. Okay. Pat said something about timing. I'm like, I can stretch. I'm good. And I have like, when I say stretch, I don't mean like messing around. I have actual value. You're going to go home and go, okay, I wrote down a lot of notes. My next thing is something that every agent should be thinking a lot about. Who has been told before, just know what your value proposition is? Got to articulate your value proposition. Yet, how often are you actually given frameworks that helps you understand what the hell your value proposition is? So what most agents, most brokerages, most teams are doing is what value proposition means to them. The answer is to take this scroll of solutions. We have professional photography, we have this. They give this scroll. And it's super long because agents have a lot of responsibilities. And they go, here, this is all the stuff I do. That's my value proposition. Guess what happens when your value proposition is this long scroll of things that includes things like videography and photography and brochures? Guess what happens?
Like the rest.
The consumer, because before they're a client, looks at that and says, but I don't need any of this. So if you were asking X, and the consumer wants to compensate you with Y on your BBA or your listing agreement, and you show them a scroll of things, and the consumer's like, none of this matters. What happens? You just lost your negotiation power. Value is determined in the untangible, the non-tangible. When you have actual things like strong negotiator, access to your network, your communication skills. While I'm at it, did you know the #1 reason why sellers fire agents? And this is a stat with NAR for like years.
No communication.
Communication. As a communication strategist, someone who's very passionate about the words we use with every human we interact with, could it be possible being in more trainings to help think differently about communication as a benefit for every pro? Yes. So how do we articulate a value proposition? I won't stand up here and tell you to just write down your value proposition, though I will give you 4 frameworks that help you start that conversation and thought process with yourself. Question number 1, how do you help consumers save and buy back time? Be specific. You should have a whole bunch of things written down here. How do you help them save and buy back time? Of course, how do you help clients save money? Yes. Buyers and sellers, what do we want to do? We want to help them keep as much money in their pocket. How do we help clients mitigate risk? Super important. Be a part of the best brokerage on the planet that partners with you on this, because mitigating risk is incredibly important, especially in 2026 with all the craziness going on, right? And then the fourth one is something that speaks to your heart, and that's how do you elevate status? What does that mean? I'll give you an example. In Orlando, as an owner of the Funk Collection, about 50% of the annual production the Funk Collection has closed on for almost 20 years are in communities that are zoned for short-term rental vacation homes. That model has existed in Central Florida for way more than any Airbnb app. People call them Airbnbs. It's like saying Kleenex instead of tissue. So the model exists, it's very prevalent, it's important. When we talk to, as a team, prospective buyers that are thinking about investing in an Airbnb community in Orlando, they're making a call, and what they're seeking is probably a little bit of all four of these, but usually what it starts off with, when we're articulating our value proposition, is how we help them elevate their status, because they're calling and saying, I'm dreaming of my very first vacation home. And that means that's something that makes their heart sing, that's something that makes them elevate their status, that they go, oh, I just bought my first vacation home. Right? So what does that mean in your market? Where are the people showing up that you go, you know what? I'm helping them elevate the status. Not every customer applies to all four of these as far as the biggest priority, but it is your job as the pro to identify which one of these is most important. Because sometimes it's the time. Sometimes someone wants to say, hey, I'll throw all the money at it. What I need for you as an agent who's representing me is I need you to be leveraged to me, and I need you to make sure I save as much time as possible. Y'all, that is an awesome scenario because you can deliver. Are these helpful? Yes. Okay. Never again should anyone ask, well, what's your value proposition? One of your assignments today is to go home and spend some thoughtful thought here. How does this apply to you? And the beautiful thing is, many of you have different skill sets that create the results and the answers to this question. That's the uniqueness that get to be you. You know, there really isn't that much competition. I know in our industry, it feels like there's much competition. People who come to me are coming for me because I'm a hot mess in all certain ways, and I'm really strong at some ways. People who are coming to you for your awesomeness, and you are also a hot mess, like everyone behind the scenes who will tell the truth, they're a freaking hot mess. They also continue to grow and be strong in really key areas. This right here helps you articulate those. And it's okay to say you're a hot mess behind the scenes, because anybody who's not in coast mode should be able to say, hey, I'm over here and I'm just trying to figure it out. P.S. No one has it figured out. They just go on social media and make it seem like they do, right? All right, consumer hat lessons. When was the last time you received a spam text message?
20 minutes ago.
20 minutes ago. What did it say? Health insurance.
Yeah, it was health insurance for sure.
Yep. Can anybody make this NA or text messaging with healthcare stop? I mean, like, what? I'm digressing a little bit, but man almighty, it's 2026. Like, what is actually happening to create that? Though, what is a consumer hat lesson? Consumer hat lesson goes back to presence being a gift. I'll give you an example. I love accepting a cold call. What? I love accepting a cold call, especially if I have like windshield time. Like I had windshield time today. I was driving from Orlando to Vieira. That's like an hour and 20 minutes of windshield time. I'm like in the car, doing my thing. If a cold caller would have called me, I would have accepted the call. There are times when if I'm able, pros seek out those consumer hat moments. What does it mean? You are the consumer of their information. So you say to yourself, I'm going to take it. I'm going to listen. I'm going to be fully present and aware of what they're saying. And I will ask myself, how did it make me feel? What specifically about their approach made me feel X? By X, I mean what made me feel great, what made me feel ambivalent, what made me feel ick, or what flat out just pissed me off. Then, how can I take a lesson from that moment and cascade it through my business? Because every single day, time and time and time and time again, you have encountered a moment when you were the consumer of something, communication, an email, a service point of sale, at the dentist office, at the car wash, picking up your kids from school. You get it? You are the consumer in that moment. What's happening is we're pulled in 27,000 different directions for 37,000 different reasons. So we're not really present most of the time. And we're missing a ton of opportunity to learn lessons that will differentiate us in our business. Now I get it. I'm not being all altruistic here saying like, what do you want me to do? Pay attention every time? No, I don't. Though what type of impact would happen if you took the intentionality to say, once over the next 7 days, instead of being mad at that random number, I'll take the call. Listen to the sales structure, what they say. Did they start with, hey, hi, how are you? Or did they start with a lie? You ever get this? I've got a product and I know you need it. And you're like, what the heck? How do you know I need this? That's a lie. You don't even know me. We get mad, but rather just go, okay, if this is what this person's doing, what can I carry with me to make sure that I don't do that? To make sure our agents don't do that? To make sure I bring awareness to our agents, just like we are right here, those are opportunities for you. Each and every one of us. Those are called consumer hat lessons, and I'll leave you with, on this topic, is are you listening? Are you absorbing? Are you capturing the moments? Because they do exist. We're getting to that first call on those 6 questions. What's the desired outcome of a first call with a prospective buyer?
Get them to nab on in 30 seconds.
Get them to
Put their teeth in 30
sink their teeth in 30 seconds. What else? Quiet in the back of the room. What's that? Make an appointment. Set up a connection. Yes. Love it. How long should the first call with a prospective buyer be? Couple minutes. How long? 3 minutes. What did I hear up front? As long as it takes. I'm going to insert that there are many different ways you can do this. It was the gift of the regulation change in August of 2024 that completely revolutionized the way the Funk Collection deployed our first call and workflow to buyer consult and workflow to BBA. So this is real time. We've done it. We made a massive pitch because of the regulation and it freaking worked. Fees continue to rise, right? So I'm speaking from action items that we've put in place for almost 2 years now. Can you believe that? It's been 2 years? Oh my gosh. Scary. I'm going to give you an example. I want you to roll your eyes at me because I've heard it 1,000 times in 2 years. Renee, my call's longer. Blah, blah, all the yeah buts. You do you. I'm giving you one example. First call should not be longer than 15 minutes. Any longer than 15 minutes, you're missing the opportunity and you're slipping into consultation mode. You see, if someone says list to last, I get it. Through the test of time, that's been important. I don't believe it. 2024 regulation change gave us a gift. Buyers are the new sellers. If you are an agent and you want to love on buyers for your whole career, freaking awesome. Guess what? When you do it right, they're just like sellers. They're no different. You don't have to, giving you an idea. 15-minute first call. Sometimes it might slip closer to 20 minutes. Just promise me, if you go to that 20-minute mark, you've got like abort, abort, abort. 20 minutes is like the very end. You are going into consultation mode. And what do I mean by that? A consultation, by definition, is a space in which you have organized, Zoom or in person. In Orlando, we do a lot of Zooms because we work with a lot of buyers and owners and all the things that are from other states, other countries. We do a lot of Zoom consults. We call those buyer strategy sessions. That's another simple swap for you. No buyer wants to sit on a call or in a meeting and consult. Nobody wants that. What they want to do is say, hey, I have a plan and I'm your strategist, right? Okay. So if you go much longer than that 15 to 20 minute mark, what you're doing is you're slipping into consultation mode. The things that you talk about in the first call are very specific. I will give you 6 specific questions in a moment. What I want you to write down about this is the difference between a call, first call, to a consultation. Consultation is organized. It is with all deciding making parties. Let me say that again. All deciding making parties. I cannot tell you the number of times in my career, yes, Mitch, Rebecca, we're getting old. You and I met what year? Oh my gosh, 2010, something like that. You have less hair than I do. You and my amazing husband, they have the same barber. Though I can't tell you in all those years, coaching and training agents, how many agents have come to me and said, I did the consult. Guess what? Only one spouse was there. I'm like, great. So what you're doing is you're putting the responsibility on the one spouse to become the professional agent, to play a game of telephone and share all the information, even though they haven't bought a house in 7,000 years, and then you're wondering why they have to think about it. Got to talk it over. Because what they're doing is spouse A, who was present on the call, is trying to disseminate the information, doesn't understand the job, doesn't understand all the terminology, doesn't understand really much of anything, and then they're giving that information over to spouse B, and spouse B is like, that's crazy, no. And then they're in the mess, and agents go back to chase mode and following up and touching base, circling back, all those fun things, right? All deciding, making parties should be present. Here you go, let's get in. 6 questions. Oh crap, sorry. You know what's awesome about that is it wakes you guys up, which is fun. Question number 1, what is prompting the move to? Insert your community. Get a lot of calls in Orlando. Hey, we're thinking about a move to Orlando. Fantastic, great to hear from you today. Thanks for calling. What's prompting the move to Orlando? Open-ended question. Gets them talking. That one question could and often unpacks your whole 15 minutes, depending on their disc profile. If you got a high I, like me, they're gonna tell you everything. They're gonna tell you everything, and in-laws, and 30 years of plans, and you're gonna end up going like, Renee said 15 minutes is the max, I gotta get them off the phone. And your job is to listen and let them unpack on you. Take lots of really good notes. Question number 2. If you need a bump up question, what a bump up question is when you've asked an open-ended question and maybe they didn't give you all the meat and potatoes, you need like just another bump up. So it might have sounded something like this. Hey, we're making a move to Orlando from Chicago. We're tired of the weather. We need more sunshine than snow. And I think we need a 4-bedroom. I don't know. We could buy any time. We're looking for the perfect one. You know, that kind of stuff. And you go, oh crap, the first question Renee gave me isn't really working very well. You have a bump up question, so you double down and you go, oh great, the team serves a lot of buyers that are sick of snow and moving to Orlando. We are so excited to serve you. We have a ton of solutions for you. Out of curiosity, what's drawing you to consider 4 bedrooms in Orlando? See, that's a bump up. That's like, let me go a little deeper, okay? Maybe they didn't tell you the bedrooms, they gave you some meat and potatoes and you needed a little bit more. You might say, what specifically is drawing you to consider Windermere in Orlando? If they give you like a community name, you get to play with that bump up, but you're really trying to pull more information out. Question number 3, let me see if I can be stealth. Okay, question number 3. This is also a question that is newer to the Funk Collection. And newer, I mean, we started implementing this question on August 10th, 2024. Whatever day the regulation change hit, I think it was around the 10th, 17th. That day, we started asking that question, number 3. When was the last time you transacted in? When was the last time you bought a house, sold a house? When was the last time? Who could share with me, perhaps, why that question is most important? Shout it out. Maria.
Well, I have a buyer right now. They bought, their homes were 40% less expensive last time they bought.
Yep.
And it was in Philadelphia area, and now it's in Florida. And so insurance is not something they understand
Yep.
about Florida.
Yep.
You could bring up a list of other things about Florida, but that's actually a hot button at the moment with the customer.
What Maria did is you asked a question around when was the last time they bought, so that you get context, because context is another gift for us all. Is if someone says to you, the last time they bought was in 1987. Do they have any idea or context about what's changed in the real estate industry other than awful, inaccurate headlines from all the news channels? They don't know. So if you were to even just ask one question on a buyer discovery call, this question will unpack a whole bunch for you. You could also get, Fund Collection works with a lot of investors in Orlando. Again, go back to that Airbnb model. We'll get the HGTV dreamers. I saw this thing on TV. I'm gonna make $1 million because I'm gonna buy an Airbnb and it's gonna be bliss. I don't have to do much. Everyone who stays in it's gonna take amazing care of it. It's gonna look as good in a year from now as it does right now. I can't wait. I'm gonna use that thing 6 months out of the year over Christmas, Easter, all of July, and I'm still gonna net $1 million. That's HGTV. Y'all, we get those calls. What is the question the Fund Collection asks? When was the last time you purchased a vacation home to be rented out as a short-term rental? Never. How important is that question?
They don't know what they're doing.
They don't know, well, and they don't know what they're doing yet, which is awesome because that's why they're calling us. Though that's someone that's going to give us context that we know we need to bring this down a little bit and help them understand what's actually true because they're probably not an ideal fit for STR, though they might be a great fit for a property they rent out long term. One town over, rent it out long term, 12-month tenant. Let's go, right? Though even in the last couple days, a buyer called up, found us on realtyorlando.com, and they said, hey, we are looking at Airbnbs. I see one community in Orange County and all the rest in Osceola County, which is actually true. What's the deal there? One of the first questions asked was, when was the last time you purchased a vacation home to be rented out as a short-term rental? The individual said, I have 7 in 3 different states. This will be my first one in Florida. That call went a little different, right? Why is there so much inventory? I'm like, because the Orlando market for STR is absolutely amazing for the right buyer right now. Not for all buyers, for the right buyer. That was a fun call. When was the last time? I've hammered it home. I want you to highlight that on your notes. How long did you live in, or how long did you have that long commute between suburbs of Chicago, downtown Chicago? You're commuting an hour and a half each way every single day? So here, you're wanting to pull out the pebble in the shoe. Pain points. It may have unpacked itself up top, though you need another question to really hammer it in and make sure, like, don't get off that first call without making sure you understand, at least at a top level, what the pebble in the shoe is. And ask them, how long have you been doing that commute? Been doing it for 3 years. 3 hours a day? How many days a week? Because now your value prop is, I know how to save you time, right? You said you wanted $700,000 close to Disney? Fantastic. You work from home, you do all, like, we got you, we can save you 3 hours a day. See how that starts to unpack? Now I said 6 questions. The good news is today you all get 2 bonus questions because I wanted to bring through the whole journey. So as we start to finish out our first call, and I don't want to get too close to the speaker, so I'll just come over here. When do you foresee yourself enjoying? Now we're getting them to look forward into the future. Remember how we talked about elevating their status? We want them to start thinking about the home that they're going to acquire, and most importantly, the lifestyle in which they will acquire. So when do you foresee yourself enjoying that shorter commute, Disney fireworks, insert whatever it is that they are calling you about to help you, have you help them achieve? Okay, almost there. When was the last time a professional sat down with you to review all of the numbers involved with making a decision to do X? Now, a lot of agents will just go, hey, can we get on a Zoom? Right? Nobody wants to get on a Zoom, though that what they want is something different. You need to sound different. When was the last time a professional showed you all of the numbers involved with making a decision around X? And then your tie downs to actually get into your appointment, would it be helpful if You had a few additional communities. You mentioned STR, you mentioned Windsor Hills over in Kissimmee. There's a few additional communities most buyers in your shoes may not be aware of. Would it be helpful if I shared a few more? What are they going to say? Yes? And then what are you going to say? When would be a good time? Over the next couple days to connect. Very simply. Not when can we meet, not I'm available Tuesday, can we do 1 or 3? By the way, I used to do that for years. It's terrible, because what you do is you're deciding for them. When would be a good time, insert time frame, gives them the power. Now hold on a minute, Renee. Wait a minute. You're gonna let them pick the time? What if I'm not available? Oh, what do you do? If they say a time, oh, what about Tuesday at noon? And you're already committed Tuesday at noon, you say, you know what, Tuesday at noon, I have a previous commitment. Could it be possible we look at Wednesday or Thursday midday? What are you doing there? You give them the power back to them. And by the way, while we're at it, everything in your calendar is a previous commitment. If you're going out to dinner tonight with your spouse, your kids, your family, whoever, previous commitment. I was at Disney World last night with my hubby. My hubby's my favorite realtor. We've been working together for 25 years. We went to Disney last night for dinner on a whim. That's something we do quite a bit. If someone would have asked me, I would have just said, hey, I'm at a previous commitment. Doesn't matter what it is, right? And then I'm fully present. I know it's hard. I'm reminding you presence is a gift because my hope is that if you just start to whittle away at it, make a little intentionality, that you protect that time. You good? First call, 15 to 20 minutes. All right. What did you not notice about the first 4 questions? Actually, there's a typo in there, so it's like 6 or 7, however many questions I just gave you. I think I gave you 8. Keeping you on your toes.
Not an interrogation.
Not an interrogation. What else?
Not being too pushy.
Not being pushy.
Open-ended.
Open-ended.
It's all about them.
It's all about them.
No price, fees.
Bingo. No price. We didn't talk about fees. They're going to ask, what's your fee? That's a great question. That will all be covered when we sit down on X day, X time. And oh, by the way, let's talk about that for a second. Let's hit that head on. It wasn't in the plan today, but let's hit it head on because people are going to call and they're just going to say, Mitch, I just want your price. No, I don't want any meeting. I don't want you to ask me questions. What's your price? Would it be helpful if I gave you a script for that?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
good.
don't
Because
want to pay a fee.
we're good. I don't want to pay a fee. I want your services. I don't want to pay a fee. How could I do that? That's the script. How could I do that? And you just sit silent. Because what you're saying to them is like, how could I give you that? And then you wait for them to talk next and you say, I don't know the job yet. You sit silent. You change your tone of voice. What you're conveying to them is, because here's the, let me back that up a little bit. I'm going to talk about why realtors frustrate me for a second. How the hell are realtors deciding your fee before you know the damn job? Seriously. Like, really? I hear agents all the time, and there's varying brokers in here, so don't talk about your fee, don't talk about fruit and bananas and whatever the hell else, don't talk about it. Though I will ask you, why do you have one figure in mind? Do you not have a mixed menu of services based on a fee? Where do you go that doesn't have varying fees? Most places, most service providers say like, hey, I got this plan, I got this plan. Even if you don't actually want the plan, there's a whole pricing strategy around anchor pricing and how you put a price up here to make them choose the second price. It works in real estate too. So when someone asks you, what's the price? How am I supposed to do that? How am I supposed to tell you that? Right? Change your voice. So you didn't notice bedrooms, square footage. You didn't notice any of that. It's irrelevant. Doesn't matter. Does it even matter? It means nothing. What are most agents asking?
Those questions.
See a sameness. You want to buy a house? Fantastic. How many bedrooms? What's your square footage? What town do you want to be in? What's your budget? When do you need to be in? What's your timeline? Most agents sound just like that. Remember to the stat in the beginning is that the pro who does the work before the work, put some intentionality around the communication you use and how you show up, they're winning. They're winning big. All right, we're not done yet. I have more to share with you, though. Because we were talking a little bit about sellers, I wanted to also give to you, this is another class I teach, it's the 7 questions that every agent should be reviewing with their sellers weekly. This was also a massive change the Fund Collection made as a result of August 2024. We made a lot of changes, but that regulation change was a good thing. Go to my Instagram. You can comment on any post, the word checklist, and you'll get the 7 data points that every agent should be talking about with their sellers every single week. And real quick on that, when you talk with sellers, please remember, no human needs more information. Information is power? No, it's not. Insights are power. What they want is, they want the professional who will take the data and show them the data and discuss it together. When we were in kindergarten, did they call it tell and tell or show and tell? Yeah, so why are agents sending market updates in an email and expecting a human who barely transacts once every 5 to 7 years to decipher that and then getting frustrated and mad when they don't decipher it? And they don't say, hey, I'll do a price reduction, or they don't say as a buyer, hey, yeah, I see, I should offer more. Why are we getting mad as an industry? Because we're not showing and talking and interpreting with our insights what the options are that that data means to the individual based on what they're aiming to achieve. Make sense? Okay, very good. Number 1 question, costing agents a whole lot of opportunity. And this is going to be categorized under write it down and cross it out and say never ask this again. I will give you a hint. I've already said it a couple times. What's your timeline? What is your timeline? Never ask it again. One of the trainings I offer is literally a jam session for, it's either a half day or a 1-day training. We've done as much as 1 entire day devoted to unpacking all the solutions and ways that you can reframe what's your timeline. You see, the industry is filled with agents who are running around saying, oh, the buyer said they were 6 months out and then they went out to an open house and they bought in 30 days. Screw that buyer, I'm mad. Why are we mad at the buyer? We didn't do our job. We didn't get into enough curiosity to truly unpack not what their timeline was, what they're aiming to achieve and by when, and what the consequences are if they don't achieve it by that time period, because they do change sometimes. What's that? I heard change all the time. And then agents get mad. Why are we mad at them? We're not. It's our job. It's literally our job to figure it out. Ask more questions. So the number 1 question is, what's your timeline, that you should never ask again because it's costing you opportunity. If you ask the question and you get an answer, and I've seen it, I even see it in our database. I'll say, agent, you have this staged and follow-up process, hot. Hot for us is 1 to 3 months. I go, what prompted you to stage it as hot? Oh no, they said 1 to 3 months. And I'll go, really? I sound like Mitch right now. I'm like, this is where my frustration is with agents, because we all have so much opportunity and sometimes we miss it. Well, they said 1 to 3 months. What needs to be true for 1 to 3 months to be true, though? Is there a contingency? Do they have to move across country? Do they have to worry about their kids being in school? Because the timeline isn't really the timeline, it's the conditions that need to be true in order for the move to happen. Okay? If you couldn't tell, curiosity is something that is very important and a passion of mine. Curiosity is a superpower. It's 1 challenge for the next couple days that I'm going to give you. I've given you a lot of assignments, but I'm going to give you 1 more. Agents' advice monster. We're put in a position to answer the phone and we think they want answers, but really, the challenge could be, what would happen if for 2 days you committed to not giving answers, but you committed to asking 2 more qualifying questions when someone comes to you? And if you are a leader of others, team leaders, broker owners, anybody who leads others, it is really hard. Mentors, because you feel like, well, they're coming to me for an answer, so I'm just going to give them the answer. You want to hear a really powerful thing about curiosity? When you're asking the questions, you can never be wrong. When you're asking the questions, you can never be wrong. As the owner of a real estate team, the number of times a team member has came to me and said, well, hey Renee, I have this scenario and I just need you to tell me the answer. And I used to just answer. But over the last 3-4 years, having a discipline, and it's not easy either to go, let me slow down the process to speed up the outcome. Tell me more. What makes you ask that question? What have you tried so far? What have you read about it so far, right? Ask some deeper questions to get what? More context. It works with our clients too. Curiosity is a superpower. Because we're all here to be better than our fee. And you know what the beautiful thing is when we're obsessed with being better than our fee, what happens to our fee? Yep. Remember that regulation change? I know, I keep bringing it up. Although, it's interesting. There was all these narratives online, on social, on the news, about what the perception of the income that a realtor makes. Was it right?
Nope.
No, it wasn't.
They can make less.
They can also make more.
That's right.
And for the agent that's focused on being better than their fee, they do make more. They do make more. And it's a beautiful thing because the consumer, most of the time, doesn't have a price objection. What they have is a value objection. If we haven't articulated our value, and I'm not asking you just to say that, because y'all are going to go home and do those 4 questions, right? I'm giving you a lot of homework to get really clear on how are you saving time or helping them buy back time? How are you mitigating risk? How are you putting more money in their pocket? And how are you going to help them elevate their status? That's being better than their fee. Are we connected on Instagram? Did you hit the, hey, I want to connect with Renee? If not yet, now's a great time to do it. It's the only ask I have is that we got to spend some time together today, and my method of communication in which I'm most available is Instagram. So if you DM me, you're going to actually get me. I have an automation set up. I use ManyChat for some of the solutions I provide, but I am in my DMs most of the time, all day long. You'll get me as a human. I don't use AI. I'm not an AI vending machine. AI doesn't create my content and then I drop it over here. You're getting me in the human messiness because that is what is going to continue to protect us to be together as humans. Don't use AI like a vending machine.
No Canva.
What's that?
No Canva.
Oh, I use Canva. I use Canva for this. Just don't treat, it's a whole other day. I think we have a happy hour and anybody wants to talk about it. Most people are using AI in a mediocre fashion. They're going into AI and they're saying, I need this, make it better. I need this, do this for me. And then they take AI and they pump it out and then you get AI slop. They're forgetting that what people really want is they want you to show up exactly how you are. Messy, not put together, showing you're real, use the wrong words sometimes, screw up, still post the video. I'm telling you, it's important because you are up against, and you, by you I mean all of us, what we're up against is a bunch of AI creators that have millions of followers that, as a dear friend of mine, Phil Stringer, and I didn't even think about mentioning him, but this is such a good reminder, shout out to Phil Stringer. Phil Stringer is an AI strategist. He reminds us that there's a trust recession. So as I bring us home, I'm inviting each and every one of you to think, where does the sea of sameness exist in your world? Where are you showing up sounding like everybody else? What can you be doing differently to show up with more intentionality? And say to yourself, hey, as I consume this information, as I consume social, emails, phone calls, text messages, how's it making me feel when others are coming to me to earn my attention? Because in that is magic. Because you can start to piece together where your uniqueness in all your human messiness. I'm going to say it again because I will drive this home and I'm going to die on this hill. As long as AI is around, we need human messiness. We need to be real. That, my friends, is what's going to continue to make sure you stand out in the sea of sameness because you shouldn't even have to worry about it. You should be like, that's over there, and I'm right here in this room because of Pat and Mitch. So thank you for each and every one of you sharing time with me. It was an honor to share time with you much appreciated. And I'm staying around, and we'll be happy to connect and answer questions. Much love.
Renee, that was amazing. Another hand for Renee. That was awesome. And our sponsors. Yeah, you did great job.